Hello again, Michael Friedrich here from beautiful North Carolina, and today I'm going to be reviewing the third in a series of milk-based soaps. Today's soap, I hope, is familiar to many of you. It is the Haslinger Schafmilch Rasierseife aus Österreich, an Austrian shaving soap, which is based on sheep's milk. It is a tallow-based, lanolin-based, sheep's milk-based soap. Now, it is a very simple small puck that comes in this rather unassuming small plastic travel container. I have the soap pressed into the bottom of my Captain's Choice shave mug or shave bowl, lather bowl. This has been working fantastically, not so much to build a lather, which of course I normally build on my face, but simply to hold the puck and to load the brush from. In part because, and I'll show you in a moment why this is a better choice for doing this than the apothecary mug. So for today's brush is going to be, let me just tip out the water. It's been soaking. It's the Rod Neep. This is the boar brush in Lignum Vitae. This is, I think this might be my favorite brush. It is my favorite brush. And I've been soaking it in this Edwin Jagger apothecary mug. Now, one reason that I don't put the soap in here, and I know that many of you do, is while it fits very nicely at the bottom, there just is not really enough room to load the brush in here without a tremendous amount of clanking, which frankly I don't really enjoy. I know some do, but I don't. So I use that mug mainly for soaking my brush or for warming them through before I shave. But the soap is in that Captain's Choice lather bowl. Now today is also going to be the last shave for the last 2 weeks. I've been returned to the Parker 24C, which I'll be comparing with the razor I was using before this, which is the Fatip Testina Gentile. And I'll be talking through the shave about some of the pros and cons of the Parker, some things I've discovered or rediscovered, and which way my preference will lean as a final recommendation between those two. So let me just wet my face again. I'll start lathering and talk a bit about the soap. I think one reason the soap may not be so popular, I think I said this in a previous Haslinger review, is that the puck it seems very small. And I think people may feel like they're somehow being cheated out of, a normal full-size puck. That may be. I think that's still going to last the normal 60 to 70, shaves. All right, now, the one thing about this soap, I'm just going to get the brush a little bit wet, but kind of a dry brush. This may be one of the easiest lathering soaps that I've ever used. So I'm just going to start loading. I'm just going to hold it like this for just a moment. I'm just swirling the brush gently. I want to show you this without too much of it tipping out. This is a relatively dry brush. I'm really exerting no pressure, just letting the tip splay and just load. Now you can already see just how quickly this is building up a lather. It's going to seem a little bit bubbly, but it's going to come together so quick. Just take a look at that, okay? That looks airy. I'm just going to scoop that out. I may have to use my finger to grab the rest of that, which I'm going to do now. Okay, I'm just going to put that on, and we'll start lathering it up. I have to say, I have been very impressed with this soap. It lathers quickly. It lathers quickly. It feels fantastic on the face. The scent is just a very light, clean, soapy smell. There's no real perfume to this. And like I said, it is a very, very rich soap. Tallow, coconut, lanolin, and sheep's milk. And I think if you've been having trouble with Mitchell's wool fat, I can definitely understand why people recommend this as a much simpler alternative. This is absolutely zero trouble to get going. I'm going to put a bit more water on the brush. This will turn into a very nice, shiny, but still a very dense, creamy lather. I could keep adding water, but I really don't need to. And if you're curious, by the way, about what people mean by cushion in a soap, well, this is what I would think of as a perfect example. It is a thick, creamy layer that offers excellent protection really holds together as you shave over it. As you can see, very nice and thick, but not too thick. I'm ignoring comments from the peanut gallery. All right. Now, Parker, 24C, and today I believe this is a brand new Rapira Platinum Lux. I've used Vashkod's, the Gillette Silver Blue, and now the Platinum Lux in here. First shave on this blade. The Silver Blue did much better in this razor than the Vashkod did. A lot smoother. Two and a half days of growth, a little bit over. The soap is dense, creamy, and just very slick on the face. Make sure that you keep your razor good and wet. That little bit of added water really helps bring some more slickness out. See that? Cushion. A nice, dense protective layer. Okay, let's talk about the shave itself. Now, as many of you know, I definitely had troubles with the Parker early on. Just not using it at the right angle. I would lull into a sense of just how to best hold the razor by some of the previous razors I was using. I've since corrected that. Definitely easier to find a much more comfortable, easy angle. Now, what I will say is that there's something I think particularly about the head geometry, which I'll talk about in just a minute, which I think is probably what was tripping me up. And what I found is that with the grain pass, comfortable, easy, comfortable shave. Not so much right here, and that's kind of a harbinger. Wow, the soap is absurdly good. This is another, this is 3 for 3 in the milk-based soaps. Absolutely fantastic. So easy to lather, and just a fantastic creamy face feel. Okay, let me just rinse. Well, just tremendous slickness there. Okay, here we go. Bit of water just to make sure that brush is wet when it goes on again. Yeah, and that just feels fantastic. Soap feels so good going on. Yeah, I did not load this brush for long, and I recognize that yes, this is a big bore brush and it's really well broken in, and for things like hard soaps, this brush just absolutely tears into them, so it's easy to overload. But I did not load very long. The nice thing about that Captain's Choice lathering bowl is that it does have these very pronounced ridges in the bottom, so you can take a hard puck of soap like that, just wet the bottom a little bit and just press it down so it's really stuck on those ridges. So if, like me, you just are loading off that puck as opposed to lathering in that bowl, it still works very well because the bowl is not very tall. It's nice and wide. It makes it easy to load your brush without a lot of that really annoying brush clanking. Okay, across the grain. Now, like I said, with the grain pass, easy and comfortable. Across the grain, still pretty good. And yes, you definitely need to hold this at a steeper angle. And that is in part because if you actually look at the way that the blade is being held, the top cap looks quite curved, but the base plate actually is relatively flat compared to many razors. So the actual blade itself is not that curved in there. So you just have to sort of bear that in mind as you're holding the razor. Yeah, I still feel like there's just something about just the combination of how far out you have to hold the handle and the angle of the head and the length of the handle, just not totally natural for me. Definitely feel more comfortable after 2 weeks of using it straight, but I find myself having to remind myself how to hold it. So that's kind of a problem for me. Now here is where it starts to fall apart a little bit. It's not uncomfortable, but it's certainly less comfortable. Oh God, this soap is just absurd. I don't think this is an expensive soap, and I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I don't think it was, I don't remember being expensive at all. It is occasionally hard to find, I guess, in the US, but I imagine that in Europe this should be really relatively easy to come by. Again, plain packaging, wrapped in plastic with a label and a front label. That's about it. Same thing here. Across the grain. It's not uncomfortable, but it's also really not comfortable. That's hard to explain, but yeah, what I'm really finding with this razor is that it is very good at taking the hair off. It is clearly an efficient razor. As you can see, it's 2.5 days worth of growth after 2 passes. You know, it is very, very smooth with the grain. You know, there's a little bit across the grain. I still have to do the 3rd pass, but I already feel a little bit, and it's this area particularly. There's something about that razor that is just, in the end, not that comfortable for me. Efficient? Absolutely. Takes the hair off? Zero argument for me on that one. All right, let's lather up for the 3rd pass. All right, now let's just squeeze some of the lather out. Yeah, there's still not a huge amount in there, but you do not need a big, thick, super crazy layer on this at all. All right, stuff's falling in the sink. All right, final pass against the grain. And this for me is where it kind of tilts over. So very light, no pressure, easy buffing, and still, like I said, it is efficient. It's clearly taking the hair off, but top half is fine. Bottom half, that's where it really starts to get a little more problematic. And again, I should be clear, not bad, just problematic for me. One reason that I'm able to buff like this is because the slickness of the soap is just really so good. Okay. Yeah, and see, for me, it's that part of the shave on both the across the grain and against the grain pass where it's just not as comfortable as it could be. I recognize that this is absolutely really efficient shave. Good sharp blade, definitely better than something that's a little less sharp like the Vajka, which is kind of more, at least for me, a more middle of the road blade. The Rapira, the Platinum Lux, a little bit sharper. The silver blue Gillette, also better in this razor than not. Yeah, and certainly a very satisfactory shave. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's close, and the hair is gone. But in the end, it is simply not as comfortable as I would like it. Now that's, for me, that's based simply on how this razor works for me. This razor may work very well for you, and you should absolutely try it. Cost-wise, it's not an expensive razor. It's solid, it's well built. I think the handle feels great. It's got a, kind of an interesting design for the head. But it just, in the end, is not as comfortable for me as the Fatip is. Yeah, and if I had to choose, I would choose the Fatip. That's not to say that the Parker is a bad razor. It's not. You can get a very good, very close shave. Wow, that's so, this level of just basic slickness with whatever is remaining. I'm going to do just a very brief touch-up. Not going to relather. Wow. The soap is 100% a keeper. I had to choose between those two razors. 100% the Fatip. It's just a little bit more comfortable for me. It's as efficient, easily as efficient. It gives me a more comfortable shave. It's not to say that this is a bad razor. It would just not be my choice. I know that for a lot of you this really works out great. I say fantastic, then stick with this razor by all means. If you're trying to choose between the two of them, then just bear in mind that for some, finding the right angle or maintaining the angle with this razor maybe is harder than it should be. On the other hand, maybe this one works out great for you. But be aware that there are other options in that same price range. Different materials, workmanship is different in different areas. The Fatip has obviously some issues with things like the gunmetal finish. That's a well-known issue. If that really matters to you, maybe that choice falls out. If you don't want to go for the open comb, go for the Fatip. If you like the size of the handle, for example, and the weight of this razor, go for the Parker 24C. For me, if I have to choose, I know what I'm choosing, and it's going to be the Fatip. Now, I have to choose the soap. Well, this is a winner. This is clearly going to stay in the rotation. The Haslinger, I think I've just gotten this thing all wet. It actually slipped into the sink for a moment. Soap is fantastic. This is an incredibly clean, easy shave. That soap just so slick and just so easy to lather, just immediate. You just read all these stories about people struggling with Mitchell's wool fat and trying to eke out a satisfactory lather from it, which I think for most people actually isn't true. I think that's kind of more apocryphal tales about having to tame the beast that is the fat. But with all that said, this soap is absurdly easy to lather, and the lather is thick and creamy, very protective, feels fantastic on the face, and most importantly, post-shave feel is excellent. Now, I've been shaving with this for about 2 weeks now, and I have been alternating no aftershave or aftershave, and in part because I've just really enjoyed the post-shave skin feel. If you just want to leave it just like that, just leave it just like that. Skin feels very, very good. There's like a very nice moisturized, feel to it. However, still going to go for the aftershave. Now, I know that there are people at my workplace, for example, that watch my videos, my shaving videos, if there's a lull in the action at work, or if they're testing some audio visual equipment. Quick, let's get a Friedberg shave video up. And the feedback I always get is, Wow, you're so serious in those videos. Yeah, this is deadly serious stuff. This isn't a game. This isn't tomfoolery. Dude, this is life or death. This is shave. All right, I'm going to tip out a little bit of Le Grand Chypre from Barrister and Mann. We put this on and I'll talk a bit about what's in there. Oh, this is another one of these really rich scents from Barrister and Mann. Goes on easy. What I found for this one is that the dry down is very quick. Like your face feels right there dry and that disappears almost immediately too. And the scent just sort of comes to life. Now, what it lists on here is citrus, oak musk, labdanum, rose, and frankincense. And for me, the two scents that really stand out is the citrus at first, and then kind of a dense rose scent. It is I would agree, this is a complex scent. There's definitely some undertones. There's a bit of a woody scent in there. Maybe the frankincense has got a bit of a warmth to it. It is alcohol based. It also contains witch hazel and chamomile and calendula. Another one of these kind of multi-tiered rich products. I think this was a limited edition and not generally available from Barrister Mann. I don't remember if this is actually still available now. I will say that this is also a fantastic scent. Not a scent for the faint-hearted. It goes on strong and it stays on strong. You can definitely smell this for quite a while. Face feel, skin feel is fantastic. It just smells really good. And one of the reasons that you can use an aftershave like that is because the soap itself, the Haslinger, has basically just a very light, clean soap smell. So easily paired with a more strongly scented aftershave if that's what you're looking to use. Well, I don't know about you. Okay, there wasn't like a comedy highlight in this one, but let me just review the things that we've used and just talk over sort of the final conclusions. Let me see if I get the label up straight. Haslinger Schafmilch Rasierseife aus Österreich. Sheep's milk, lanolin, coconut, tallow, rich soap, very easy to lather. Soap's protection is fantastic. It's slick, it's dense, it offers very good cushion. Post-shave face feel is fantastic. 100% recommended. If you haven't tried the soap, you absolutely need to give this one a whirl. Third in the series of milk-based soaps. There's still at least 2 more coming. And then there might be a 6th, maybe even a 7th in the lineup. So we'll see about that. So far, the milk-based soaps have been stellar. For the brush today, you can still see loaded with lather, rod neap, full-size boar, Lignum Vitae handle. This. Today's razor, 3-piece. This is the Parker 24C with a brand new Rapira Platinum Lux blade in there. Definitely a better result than with the Vashkod, generally speaking, at least in that razor for me. And then to close it out, once again, another Barrister and Mann. This may be hard to read just because of the dark green on black, but it says Le Grand Chypre Aftershave Splash. Excellent stuff. All right, well, I'm going to leave it at that. That was yet another fantastic shave. As always, if you have comments or questions about the content of this video, you can always leave a comment just straight in the YouTube sequence. If you are interested in contacting me and have a particular question, just leave as a comment against this video and I'll pick it up. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.